Hello. Welcome to Senator Reverend Warnock's virtual town hall. I'm Meredith Lilly, the Senator's senior advisor and the moderator of tonight's conversation. If you have a question you'd like to submit, please leave one in the comment section below and let us know where you're from in Georgia. As we speak, the Senator's staff are monitoring the comment sections, and I'll be asking the Senator some of your live questions. Now I'll hand things over to Senator Warnock.
Well, hello, Georgia. Thank you so very much for joining my town hall. It's so wonderful just to be able to speak with all of you tonight virtually. I'm hosting this virtual town hall to hear directly from you. I want to hear from my constituents about the challenges that you are facing and how the policies of this new administration are impacting you on the ground, the communities, the people you know. So let me start by saying that the past several weeks have been a truly unprecedented time for our nation. Veterans, healthcare professionals, and other federal workers in our state have lost their jobs. Bird flu continues to harm our state's dominant agriculture industry. And all the while, the costs of everything from housing to groceries, certainly eggs, continue to soar. The reality is that what happens in Washington does not exist in a vacuum. The decisions made by our elected leaders have direct consequences on Georgians in every corner of our great state. I wanted to talk to you tonight because you are the human face of the public policy we pass in DC. Thousands of you have been calling into my office. Many others have written into my office. Please know that I am in touch with you. I'm reading your letters. I'm hearing your stories, and they inform the work that I do every day in Washington, D.C. Since entering the United States Senate in 2021, it has always been my mission to serve all Georgians, all across our state. I'm laser focused on this year on lowering your costs, particularly your healthcare costs. I remain focused on supporting our military families in the military state and bringing down the prices at the grocery store. But it is also a priority for me to hear from and to listen to all Georgians too. You can't represent people without hearing from them. I promised to walk with you even as I work for you. So thank you so very much for taking the time to listen in. For those of you who are just joining, if you have a question you'd like to submit, please leave your question in the comment section of this live stream. And remember to let me know where you're calling from in Georgia. Meredith Lilly will be asking me many of your live questions tonight. I'll get to as many of them as I can. Meredith, tell me, what's our first question tonight?
All right, first question. Tiffany from Metro Atlanta asked us on Instagram, what efforts can be done to keep healthcare programs like Medicaid intact?
Thank you so very much, Tiffany. That's a great question. Listen, I work on a lot of things in the Senate since I arrived in 2021. But there's probably nothing that I work on more or think about more than healthcare. I think Dr. King said it best. Of all the injustices, inequality in healthcare is the most shocking and the most inhumane. And so I'm very focused on this issue. In fact, I was working on Medicaid and expanding Medicaid long before I came to the United States Senate as pastor of the Ebenezer Baptist Church. When the Affordable Care Act was first passed, I was fighting to get the state of Georgia to expand Medicaid so that we could take working class Georgians out of the healthcare gap. Literally, I was arrested in the state capitol fighting for Medicaid expansion. I don't think Georgians should have to subsidize healthcare in other states while working people can't get healthcare. And then a couple of years later, ironically, when Republicans were busy passing a bill similar to the one that they're trying to pass right now, and they were stripping health care away. I got arrested here in the Congress, here in the United States Senate, again, as a citizen. And so now, as a senator, I take that same passion, that same commitment, now that I have some new tools. And so I'm fighting every single day to protect Medicaid because people all over our state need it. We're seeing too many of our rural hospitals close. And right now they are proposing to cut nearly $1 trillion. Think about that. Nearly $1 trillion out of Medicaid. And why are they doing this? They're doing this to give the wealthiest people in America, literally the top 1%, a tax cut. I think that that is an indefensible use of taxpayer dollars. It is a drag on the Georgia economy, in addition to being a drag on people's health care. And so I have always fought this fight. I've introduced bills time and time again to protect Medicaid, to make sure working class people have access to health care. And you have my absolute commitment that I will continue to do the same. I won't shrink back 1 minute on this issue. Thank you for your question.
Second question. Kirk from Cobb County wrote into the website and asked, I understand your concern regarding DOGE and their bulldozer approach, but you cannot deny that government waste and abuse exists and that we are spending our way into oblivion. Our national debt is the greatest threat to our nation, and drastic times call for drastic measures. Instead of complaining about tactics, can you get your colleagues to balance a budget for once?
So listen, let me be very, very clear. I am very concerned about the national debt. I am concerned about what this means, especially for the future of our children. You know, I remember that, you know, as I'm a person of a certain generation, that when I was in my early 30s, although I grew up in poverty, I purchased my first home. And nowadays I'm looking at a generation of folks behind me who find it hard to get in to that path that leads to the American dream. And so ironically, the very folks who are struggling right now as this national debt continues to expand are the ones who are going to be left with the bill. And so that's the reason why I think what Republicans are trying to do right now is so very irresponsible. They are trying to pass a $2 trillion tax cut for the wealthiest Americans. And they're going to put a $4.5 trillion hole in the national debt. I think that is indefensible, and it's the reason why I'm fighting to address this every single day. We ought to deal with the debt. We ought to deal with trying to create a budget and a path that is sustainable. But I do not believe that we ought to engage in what I call Robin Hood in reverse, robbing from the poor in order to give to the rich. That is the game that folks are up to in Washington, D.C. And let me tell you, there's been a lot of noise, a lot of political drama going on right now. People are putting on a show. Elon Musk, by the way, an unelected billionaire who's posing as co-president. They're putting on a show, firing all of these federal workers. My heart goes out to the federal workers. I know that many of you are on the call tonight. Know that I'm praying for you. And when I say that, know that I'm praying not only with my lips, but with my legs, that I'm working on your behalf every single day. But as they engage in all of this show, it's not addressing the long-term issue that you're talking about. I'll give you an example. They have gone after USAID with a vengeance, and we can talk about that later. I won't get into all the details, but that's a fraction of 1% of the budget. And it looks like they're cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. I'm for cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. And while Elon Musk is focused on waste, fraud, and abuse, he might address the fact that he has received some $38 billion, at least $38 billion in government subsidies, in government contracts, in tax credits. This is welfare in the worst way. And so we've got to make sure that we take care of ordinary working class people, that we work for hardworking families all across Georgia. We've got to protect Medicaid so people can go to work and continue as productive tax-paying people. And we need unelected billionaires to pay their fair share.
This next question comes from Vicky from Henry County. She wrote this on Facebook. What is being done to address the terminations of all federal employees, including probationary ones, by OPM?
Well, again, and welcome to all the federal workers who are on the live stream tonight. My heart goes out for you and for your families. But know that even as I fight for our federal workers, this is not just about them and their jobs. This is about the job that they do for us. And I really do need to take the time to lay this out, because the administration, Elon Musk in particular, and others have been trash talking our federal workers, talking as if they don't work for the paychecks that they receive, that they're doing nothing. Let me tell you what federal workers are doing every day. They're protecting us, and there are a number of federal workers all across our state. For example, the workers at the CDC, the Centers for Control of Disease and Prevention, who are at work trying to protect us from all kinds of disease. I've been at the CDC. I spent time in their insectary where they are literally doing research, trying to protect us from mosquito-borne diseases that come from other places. We live in a global community. Diseases know no boundaries. And so when you attack federal workers, you're attacking people who protect our health care. You're attacking the folks who keep the air clean and the water clean. You're attacking the folk who deal with making sure that our food supply meets certain standards. They do the invisible work that makes our lives possible every single day. And we don't think about it often enough, because a lot of these things, they move off of our plate. We didn't wake up this morning and ask ourselves if the water coming out of our hydrant is clean. Somebody took care of that. Those are federal workers. And so we have to push back hard against this. Know that I'm fighting for you every single day as a member of the Finance Committee of the United States Senate, as a member of this body, and as we try to respond to needs that are right on the ground. I want to encourage our federal workers to go to warnock.senate.gov/federal workers, where we try to connect you to resources. We want to hear your stories. As I push back, as I make the argument for you on the floor of the United States Senate, as I push my colleagues on both sides of the aisle, because we're seeing a lot of damage from this in blue states and red states on both sides of the aisle, I need to hear your stories. And I hope that you will register those stories, because they become a part of the grand American conversation that helps us understand the direction that we need to go in. Thank you so much for the ways in which you've been standing up time and time again. Know that I'll continue to stand up for you.
Knox from Barrow County, Georgia, asked this question live on YouTube. How do we get the DOGE in check and stop doing damage across our government?
I think it's a great question. We are in the midst of unprecedented times, as I said, and we have an unelected co-president literally inside of our nation's systems with a bunch of 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds. They have not given us a clear explanation about what they are doing. And the conflict, the obvious conflicts of interest are deeply concerning for me. Elon Musk has, as I said, all kinds of federal contracts. And he and the DOGE boys are literally in our systems. The question is, what are they seeing? And how is he using that in relationship to his own business interests? By the way, while the wealthiest man on the planet is trying to tell us that we need to tighten our belts, he recently got another contract with the FAA. And so know that as a member of the Finance Committee, I will hold this administration accountable. Every nominee that's come before that committee, as I have asked questions, I've been pushing and asking questions about this, and I'll keep asking questions. One of the great things about being a member of the Senate is that we have oversight. And although this administration is trying to behave as if the president is a king, as if he is a solitary executive, we have three co-equal branches of government. And it is the job of the Senate to ask these questions, to engage in oversight. And while my Republican counterparts may have given over their power, and maybe they've decided to just bow down to a president who behaves like a monarch, I'm not bowing down. I wasn't elected by him. I was elected by the people of Georgia. And I think if you ask people all across our state, not just Democrats, but Republicans and independents, do you think an unelected billionaire, unvetted, without any kind of real clearance, should be in our treasury systems and in our other systems? He and 19 and 20-year-olds going through people's private information. I think even the people who voted for Donald Trump will tell you that they didn't sign up for this. By the way, what does any of this have to do with the price of eggs? He said that he would drive prices down from day one, and from day one, everything that they've been doing have been taking prices up. And so it's important for me to do my job, and you help me do my job by raising the questions and raising your voices. So thank you again. Thank you so very much for being a part of this live stream tonight. This is very helpful for my work.
Darlene from Hall County asked on Blue Sky, I'm 82 years old, and my only source of income is Social Security. Am I in danger of losing my Social Security?
Hi, Darlene. Great to have you on the live stream. Good to be able to talk directly to you. Thank you for your question. And I hope you don't mind my saying that hearing your question makes me think about my own mother, my own 86-year-old mother, who is a Social Security recipient. Know that I'm going to fight for this like my own mom depends on it, because she does. And so hearing from you directly is just another way of underscoring how important this social safety net is. It is your sole source of income. Now, Donald Trump has been busy trash talking Social Security. We heard lies the other night during the address, and I don't know a polite way to call lies anything other than lies, saying that there were 150-year-olds and 160-year-olds getting Social Security. I know you would beg to differ. This is your livelihood. It's not something that you want people playing with. Elon Musk has called Social Security the biggest Ponzi scheme ever. I think he's got a pretty good scheme of his own going on with some $38 billion in tax subsidies and tax and contracts. So know that I will stand up every single day and fight for Social Security. Social Security is not some grand giveaway. People have paid into this when they were in the prime of their life, during their working years. Folks worked every single day. They paid into Social Security. All of us see it in every one of our pay stubs. and they count on their government to do what it promised. And that is that when they become of age and unable to work in the way that they did in the height of their youth, that there will be this safety net. That is the covenant. That is the promise that we made to the American people. And as a member of the Finance Committee, with the powers of oversight, even as they push forward their reconciliation bill and other bills trying to destroy Social Security, trying to trash talk it so that they can destroy it, know that me and many others of my colleagues will be here fighting for you every single day, Darlene, because when I think about you, I think about my own mother.
The next question comes from Nancy from Kingston. She asks on Facebook, why do you vote with the Republicans?
Thank you, Nancy, for the question. It was Nancy, right? Yes. Thank you so very much. It's a good question. Listen, I don't think about who I'm voting with. I always ask myself who I'm voting for. And if it's for the right people, and that's the people of Georgia, I don't mind working with whomever I can work with to get good things done for the people of Georgia. You know, long before I came to the Senate, I've spent the bulk of my career as a pastor. In fact, I still lead the Ebenezer Baptist Church. And you know, pastors invite whoever comes through the door, whosoever will let them come. And so I don't compromise my principles and my values, but I have worked with Republicans to do good things for Georgia. I'm proud that I'm listed as one of the most bipartisan senators in the Senate. Out of 100 senators, I believe I'm number 14. And so I've worked with Republican senators in Alabama to protect Georgia farmers who were trying to get their commodities and their goods to international markets. I've worked with Republican senators. I've got an insulin bill right now. My bill, remember, capped the cost of insulin for folks on Medicare. I think we ought to try to get that for everybody because insulin should not be expensive. And when it was necessary, I stood up to President Biden, the president of my own party, when they were trying to close the CRTC, the military center that's right near Savannah. I stood up when they were trying to close that center and said, we need to open it. We need to keep it open for our national security, and I knew its importance to Georgia. And so I'll work with anybody if it's a good idea, while at the same time standing on behalf of my constituents every single day.
Howard from Savannah wrote into the senator's office to ask, why are Democrats willing to waste taxpayer dollars on the ridiculous projects supported by USAID, while so many retirees and veterans struggle to make ends meet?
Hi, Howard. Look, I represent the whole state of Georgia, but I have to admit to you that I can't help but smile a little bit when I hear from somebody from Savannah. That's my hometown. I'll have to check in with you later and find out if you went to the right high school. Saul C. Johnson High School right here. Listen, I think that there are those in our government who choose division over vision because people who have no vision traffic in division. And they're trying to sell to you and others a false choice, that either we provide foreign aid and humanitarian aid through the programs of USAID, or we fight for retirees in Georgia. I have to tell you, Howard, that that's a false choice. And the idea that we have to do one or the other it does not represent who we are as Americans. By the way, let me just say that USAID, by the way, is less than 1% of the federal budget. It's a fraction, less than 1%. And you would know that looking at all the noise that Elon Musk and others have created, I think, for their own particular interests. But the folks in our military will tell you that for every dollar we cut in humanitarian aid, in foreign aid, military experienced people in the military will tell you that for every $1 we cut in foreign aid, they need $2 for bullets. And so I happen to think that reaching out to our neighbors, along with other countries, not that we carry the whole burden, is the right thing to do. But I also think that it's the smart thing to do. Again, for every $1 we cut in humanitarian aid, you need $2 in bullets. So that's money that you could be using for those retirees. But in addition to that, again, we live in a global neighborhood, and USAID is engaged in protecting us very often from diseases and from malnutrition in places that create security for us. As we move out of these spaces, we literally invite terrorists and other bad actors on the globe to move into those spaces. And so it's dangerous for us. I'm proud of the fact that down in Fitzgerald, Georgia, there's a plant that buys peanuts from Georgia farmers. So that's good for the Georgia economy. They then take those peanuts and they create a paste that is rich in nutrients. It's called RUTF. This is therapeutic foods for places where babies are literally starving to death. That substance, those packets are made in little Fitzgerald, Georgia, by the way, creating some 130 jobs in this small little town, providing aid and nutrition to places far and away, which is good for those folks, but also creating goodwill on behalf of the American people all over the globe. All of those packets say, from the American people. I think that's a message that's good in this fraught moment on the globe, while at the same time we continue to create jobs and stand up for everybody all across our state, from retirees to veterans to our school children.
Val from Flower Branch, Georgia, asks on Blue Sky, I'm a veteran. What proactive approach will you be taking to stop the VA 70,000 jobs that are scheduled to be cut? I work at the VA, and we are already short-staffed.
Thank you so very much for the question. Listen, thank you for your service. Georgia is a big military state. We've got a lot of veterans in our state, and our veterans really are the best among us. They sign up for service, and it doesn't matter who the president is. They go wherever they are sent. They respond to the assignment. And our assignment is to make sure we protect our veterans. The people who fight for us shouldn't have to fight with us to get the benefits that they deserve. That's why I'm so proud of the fact that when we were in charge, we set the table for the passage of a bipartisan bill that provided the largest benefit for veterans in a generation. This was that piece of legislation, remember, that dealt with burn pits. Many of our veterans have come home in the last 20 years of war, and some of them found themselves sleeping or working near these burn pits. They've come home, they've had all kinds of diseases and illness, and then there are others who have scars that are not easily seen. There are mental health concerns, and so we do our veterans a terrible disservice when we don't provide for them the services that they need. And so again, as a member of the Senate who has, with the power of oversight, I will continue to push the Veterans Administration to give our veterans the services that they need. I will continue to reach out to the secretary, the VA secretary, who hails from Georgia, and continue to press. Now, if you have specific concerns, I want to encourage you to reach out to my state team. I have to tell you that I've got the best team in the entire Senate. Both my team in DC and my state team, they do incredible constituent work. I've seen it time and time again. And so if you have a specific issue, if you're having trouble accessing your benefits, if you are having trouble navigating the system in some kind of way, know that even as I'm fighting for you, fighting against all of these layoffs, know that you can reach out to my office and we'll do everything that we can to help you. Again, thank you so very much for your service.
We have a live question from Instagram. Cassie Sager, Fulton County, asks, how will you protect CDC workers?
Thank you so very much. Again, let me just say I'm so proud that the CDC is in Georgia. And my predecessor, by the way, Johnny Isaacson, who was a Republican, didn't agree with his politics, but he was a real patriot and he loved the state. He always stood up for the CDC. And every time nominees came before him, he wanted to ensure that relevant nominees understood the importance of the CDC for the nation's healthcare infrastructure. And I have continued that tradition. You're not going to find a stronger advocate for the CDC in the Congress than me. I respect deeply their work, and I have already been advocating for them. In fact, just last week, some of the workers that were laid off, we made enough noise that some of those folks have been returned to work. In fact, I ran into a young woman just a few days ago who saw me as I was leaving a restaurant, and she said that she worked for the CDC. Her job was safe, but some of her friends had found themselves imperiled, and as a result of our advocacy, as a result of me raising questions and making noise, many of those folks had gotten their jobs back. And so that was good news to me. It's good news for Georgia. It's good news for our healthcare infrastructure, and know that I'll continue to make the case.
Last question, Senator Warnock. Margaret from Columbus, Georgia, asked on Facebook, why did DOGE close the Social Security Administration office in Columbus? And how will seniors get resources now that the office has closed?
Margaret, thank you so very much. I love Columbus, Georgia. I got to get back by there to see you guys. Listen, my heart sunk when I heard that they'd closed some 5 Social Security offices. Again, I know personally, and I know as a pastor, how much our seniors depend on Social Security. This is why it's so important to have people in Congress with you who understand the struggles of ordinary people. We know that the lines for getting your questions answered, addressing issues around your benefits have already been long. And now with these cuts, with these closures, the question becomes, how do people get the service that they need? Elon Musk thinks this is a good idea because, face it, he'll never be concerned about a Social Security check. Donald Trump will never be concerned about a Social Security check. I understand the struggles of ordinary people as a pastor, and I just think it's important to have people who just get it, even in the moments when we've got to work hard. And I'm not going to kid you; these are tough times. We are in a fight. I don't have the tools that I had last Congress because we're not in the majority, but I will continue to raise my voice because I understand the struggles of ordinary people. And when I look at the billionaires who are pushing forward their agenda right now in Washington, D.C., forgive me, but in the words of Kendrick Lamar, they're not like us. They don't understand the struggles of ordinary folks. I'm going to fight for you every single day. I'm going to continue to raise the hard questions. And if there's something, again, that my office can help you with specifically, feel free to reach out, even as we advocate at a larger level for Social Security.
Thank you, Senator. That was our final question of the night. If you didn't hear your question answered tonight, be sure to visit warnock.senate.gov to leave your question or opinion. If you need help with a federal agency, be sure to contact our office. Now I'll hand things back to the Senator for some final thoughts.
Well, thank you, everybody. Thanks again for joining tonight's Town Hall conversation. Listen, I'll be moving across the state. We'll keep this conversation going. Representing Georgia in the United States Senate is truly, truly the honor of my lifetime. These are some difficult and dark days in our country. But even in the midst of this mess that we've seen unfold over the last few weeks, I still pinch myself every now and then and again, because I can't believe that I get to represent the people of my state in the Senate. It's a real honor. It is a sacred covenant, and it's one that I take very seriously. Know that I will continue to fight for you every single day in Washington. I'm going to keep fighting for you, and my ask to you is that you don't give in these moments. I know this is a difficult time, and let me tell you that the chief weapon that some folks are using is despair. They are literally trying to weaponize despair to so overwhelm you that you start to think that we've already lost and you might as well give up. That is the dream of wannabe autocrats. That is the dream of the oligarchs. That is the dream of folks who want to reshape this country into something we do not recognize. I believe in democracy. You know, I was in Selma this past weekend, and the thing about being in Selma on the 60th anniversary of Bloody Sunday is it reminded me that ordinary people can make a difference. I'm fighting for you every single day, but know that your voice in our democracy makes a difference. So stay engaged, keep looking up, keep the faith, and keep fighting for Georgia. God bless all of you. God bless our country. Keep the faith.